Hello and welcome to the next episode in this level design pipeline series that I've been creating for you guys. So today I'm going to look at a little bit more of the functionality that we can use for Quixel Mixer. In order to set this up, I'm just going to do an experiment with this. So if we go ahead and just create a box inside Studio Max, and I'll just make this have dimensions 50-50 by 50, nice and simple. Just center that to my world origin point by right clicking on the up and down arrows there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to apply an edit poly. So what I'm going to try and achieve here is just a simple kind of wooden crate type thing, and just kind of keep things as simple as possible really, just to sort of show you how a simplistic model in Studio Max can then be sort of turned into something that can look quite effective when adding kind of textures and other bits and bobs to it. So, yeah, adding an edit poly to the stack and then going to polygon mode, just press Ctrl A to select all faces, and I'll come down to inset. Need to change the mode from group to polygon, and then I'll switch that to 6. Yeah, that looks fine. Click tick to confirm. If you can't see your edged faces, just press F4, remember, to switch between those. And if you're in wireframe mode, you just need to press F3 to go into come into default shading before doing that one there. Okay. So with that in place, I'm now going to come out of polygon mode and type in U to get to the unwraps. Select unwrap UVW, and then if I open up the UV editor and drag this across, you can see that at the moment, if I select all of this, it's all nice and square in the middle, which is kind of alright, but it's not taking into consideration that we've got these new sections in here. In fact, I select that, they're flattened in the wrong direction. So one of the great things that Studio Max has is it's got a couple of projection methods, and because this is a box, I'm going to use the box map projection. As soon as I do that, you can see that it then conforms to that. So each one of these faces is exactly the same. So this face here, so this face and the 4 that surround it are exactly the same as this face because they're all overlapping each other here. And for what we're doing, that's going to be fine. That's not going to work with everything that we want to do with Quixel, where we maybe start looking at things in a little bit more advanced way. But ultimately, that should work quite effectively for that. So I'll just click on that to come out of that mode, and that's all pretty much set up in terms of what we need. So all I need to do now really is just go into Tools and Render UVW Template. I'll change the size of this so it's 2K, because we're sort of working mostly in 2K textures when working with Quixel and Unreal. I'll turn overlaps off because obviously I've just explained they're all overlapping each other. So there's 6 identical sections behind this that are all lined up neatly next to each other. I'll change the mode to solid so we can see what's going on, and then I don't need seam edges, I just need visible edges. So I'll click on Render UVW Template, and it's pushed it all over there. For some reason in that preview I can't see the lines coming through, but I know that they're definitely there, so I will just click Save, and I'll just put it on my desktop, which is very naughty. Because I should have a more secure location to put that, but just for demonstration purposes I'll put it there. So I'll just call it box, in fact I'll call it crate underscore UVW, just so I know what it is. Save it as a PNG, click save, click OK, and then I can just close that down, close that down, and I want to bake. I've changed the UVs in the terms of their position on that model, so I need to bake that information onto it by right clicking and going to collapse all. So I'm just right clicking on unwrap UVW and then clicking collapse all. Yes please. And now that's kind of committed that UV information to that model. So I now can also go file and export and also put that on the desktop and just put crates like so. So I want to have a different variation in what we can see from a texture point of view on the inside of this. So this section here to the outside, and we've kind of you might have looked at some of my previous videos and it's been achieved by kind of setting up different IDs. That's a similar process to what we're going to be doing here. We're going to be setting up so that Quixel understands how to read the information. So I can actually close down Fusion Max now. I don't need that, so I just close that down. And then what I am going to need is I'm going to just need Photoshop, and I'm just going to create a new. In fact, no, I'm not. I'm going to open, and I'm going to open up the Create UVW. That'll make more sense. And there we go. There is our information on that one layer. So from here, what I will do is I want to color code the specific sections. Easiest way to do this really is I don't even need to do it as separate layers, so I can just come over to the paint tool, and it doesn't matter what color I pick. I just want to do that a couple of times, and then what I'll do is I'll choose blue, and then I'll do that for these sections here. I'll just click a couple of times to really make sure that I get rid of those lines that were in between those points. I could have also done it where I use something like the Magic Wand tool to select those areas and then go for, paint it with like the paintbrush, the brush tool, if I was happy to do it that way, but I think it's going to be fine working like this. So once you've got those like very different colours set up on there, we can now just simply go and click Save As and save as a PNG. I'll just put a 2 at the end of it, just in case for any reason I need to come back, because if anything doesn't quite work, we'll do that. So I'll click Save, and I will click OK here, and I'll just minimize it down just in case. So what I need to do now in here is I'm going to create a new mix. I'm going to call it Create, click Open, and at the moment it's just a flat surface, but I need to change and specify a 3D asset for this. So I'll go to Custom Mesh, which will then allow me to specify the mesh I'm going to bring in. And it's just this nice box just here, which is fine, which is cool. So that's that part set up, and I'll just go to my layers and switch to my material ID here, and then click load, and then I'll bring in that part just there. And it's created a pink section somewhere, and I guess we'll sort of see how that manifests itself in terms of what happens on here, but we'll just start adding things to this now. So I'll go to, I don't think I might, I'll go online. Well, I'll start on my local library just in case, because then there might be something in here I can use. In fact, yeah, I will just use, I might be able to use those two, but just rotate them around. So yeah, I'll use that one first. And of course what happens is it applies it to the whole thing. And already, that's looking all right, and if that's what you wanted, then great. We could just pull that through and it's applied it in a nice way. That's great. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on here and add an ID mask. Brilliant. And then I can just specify what this will be linked to. And that's possible because I've brought through that material ID. So I just want that applied to that section there. Okay. I might want to come back in, and in terms of placement, I could play around with that a little bit. Or I could move it onto tiling instead, but then if I do that, I think, okay, I was expecting that not to work as effectively. But obviously I can move that around that way, like that, which is quite cool. Just to kind of make sure those things line up, and then also I can rotate that around in different directions. So I think what I'll do is I'll probably leave this one on box projection because that looks quite nice. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the another layer now. So add surface, and then wood please, enter to confirm. This one, perhaps, and again I just need to right click on that and an ID mask, and then I'm guessing this will be attributed to this one, and maybe the pink. I think the pink is basically the well, obviously if you put blue and red next to each other, I'm guessing you get pink in the middle. Although I know that should no, if you put red and blue together, isn't that green? But obviously at some point in this crossover, that's what's kind of impacted on that one there. So we've got that going on there, and then what I shall do with this bit now is come into here, and I will take advantage of the tiling, let's put it that way, for is, and I almost don't want to do anything to it because that's actually worked out really, really well in terms of how you might want that, which is really, really cool. The only thing that you might want to add on to there is maybe some kind of maybe some nails and stuff like that. So the way that we could perhaps look at doing that is if we add if we go in and add a solid layer on top and maybe make that I mean, to be honest with you, it's probably quite close to what we want anyway, but then I'll just change the metalness so that looks like quite nice and metallic there, and then obviously I'll need to then turn the roughness down. So I mean, that's looking very metallic now, so maybe not that much, something around those lines. Okay, and then I'm going to mask this. So I think if you hold down Alt and click it, will it invert the mask? Yes, it will. Awesome. So holding down Alt and clicking that will invert the mask. If I delete that and I just click it, a mask like that, it won't invert the mask. So yeah, but I do think as well, actually, when you click on that, there is an option inside of it. Yeah, you can click invert just there as well, so you could do it that way. And then what I want to do is I want that to appear, but I only want it to appear in certain places. And so if I go back into this for a second, and I want the normals to sort of really show up quite nicely on that one. So I should be able to just double click on this a little bit there, and I'll make it a very specific round size, but maybe just turn that down to something like, what does 10 look like? Is that super small? We're going to get away with that one. Just rotate that around, and then if I click, I'm going to need to switch that to that. I think it probably needs to be a little bit bigger. Change that to maybe 20. And of course my issue now is that this is actually not on the right, so I need to also ID that and make sure that's set up on the red and the pink. Go back in there and I think it will, no, it's still not working. Okay, so yeah, I anticipated this might be an issue, and it's something that I read about actually, which is a bit of a shame. It's just that because we have on the UV we have each face overlapping each other, it's not happy to allow us to paint detail on there. So in order to achieve that, I would have had to like separated out all of the different UVs, and then it would have allowed us to paint on it, but on this basis it's not going to let us, which is a shame. But it's not the end of the world, so it just means that we can't put the nails in there, so I'm just going to therefore delete that layer, which is a shame, but I will get over it. But yeah, I suppose if anything, it's just and something that I'll maybe try and bring up in one of the future episodes, in that we do need to just have every single face therefore not overlapping each other. They need to be all separate on the UV map. But anyway, that's all fine, so I think we're good to go with that one. So I'll just go to export, still got it going to that same location that I had in the previous episode, so I'm just going to switch here and go to UE4 and export those 5 maps. And now if I jump over to Unreal, it will ask me if I want to import those. I do indeed. And click OK there. And it's in the content folder, so actually I do need to drag a couple of things in. So that one needs to go in there, and then we've got the crate just there, so I'll just bring that into Quixel as well. Brilliant. And then inside the crate, those are the textures. So it hasn't brought the actual model in, but that's okay, because I can just go and import and then just drag that in from the actual desktop. I don't need to create any extra materials for it or anything like that. Apart from that, everything else is fine. So we can auto-generate collision with that. Yeah, everything else is fine. Don't need to import the textures either, because all the textures are already in here. So click import all, and then it will apply just there. Perfect. And then all I need to do is exactly the same process that we did before with Quixel Mixer. So right clicking on the albedo, create material, hit enter to confirm, enter again to go in, move that across like so. Sorry, that's left over from earlier, so I will close that down and then hold down Control to select the rest of the textures. Drag that up to there. Oh, I think I let go a bit too early. Drag that up to there and bring that down. There we go. And then that one then will be ambient occlusion, which I'm going to definitely include because it's on a 3D model now. So roughness, plug it in there. That will be the normal. And then we have, of course, finally, we have like so. Brilliant. And I will just go ahead and click apply and save. And then if I double click my crate, I can then just bring that material straight into it so it's always assigned on it. And there you go. Click save, close that down, bring that into the scene. Looks like it's quite small. Yes, it is very, very small. So we'll need to select it perhaps. And I'll make that just go 4 by 4 by 4. So that's a little bit bigger. And there we go. Like so. And if we wanted to, we could even go in and ask it to simulate physics. Although I am mindful that I've turned off fire in first person character mode, so I'll just reattach that. There we go, that's just lovely and loud, so I will turn that down. Try that again. Bit quieter, and now we can actually get our crate to move and react to being hit by the gun. Okay, and that's pretty much it, guys. So yes, that is how you use Quixel and apply different textures to a model, a very simple model like this, and you can use material IDs to have different materials set up on that so that you can apply it in different ways. And we just followed exactly the same process for exporting those maps and importing them into Unreal as we've done in the previous introductory episode for Quixel as part of this series. So yes, hopefully that it all makes sense, and yes, hope you've learned something from that. Thanks very much for watching. I will see you next time.